Hey guys, and welcome to Box Mining Daily, where I keep you guys updated on what's happening on the cryptocurrency news and the market front. So today there's quite a big piece of news coming in from Bitcoin Gold. They've been hit by a 51% attack.
Oh shit. They're not helping us, they're attacking us.
It's a 51% attack.
There was a double spend transaction, and I'll explain exactly what that means and how that affects the market overall and why Bitcoin isn't really affected at all. I'll also talk about the US Justice Department. They're starting a probe into market manipulation, something that's very long due in the cryptocurrency markets. And finally, some thoughts about this current sentiment. It does seem that we're taking a dip, so I'll talk a little bit about some thoughts and what my experiences were in the past. So I do want to say, of course, everything covered here is my personal opinion and not financial advice. So let's start off with the cryptocurrency markets first of all. So we have the market dipping a little bit more. So the overall market cap is around $331 billion. Bitcoin dipped a little bit to 700 and 500 and Ethereum 585. So there's still a little bit of an overall market dip going on. And that's because of this kind of constant fear that we're getting in the markets. And sometimes, we've been seeing reports and kind of even scientific studies about this where people talk about how market feeling and emotion is sometimes a little bit more important. And right now, because of all this negative news, it does seem like the market is taking a little bit of a dip. So let's start off with the biggest news first of all. So Bitcoin Gold was hit by the famed 51% attack. If you guys don't know what Bitcoin Gold is, it's basically a fork of Bitcoin but with a changed hashing algorithm that's GPU friendly and ASIC resistant. So the original idea was to make Bitcoin more decentralized and more safe, but ironically that didn't work out very well because, well, now they got hit by a 51% attack. So exactly what is a 51% attack? Well, it's quite easy to explain. Basically, the hacker can spend transactions at the same time. Basically, send one to the exchange, maybe an exchange, and deposit it, and one to his own account. Well, the network has to decide which one goes first, and the first miner to kind of put that in order and to specify one of the transactions is valid would instantly invalidate the other transaction. So initially it's up to chance, so the hacker can try a few times or whatnot. But what he wants is the transaction going to the exchange to be successfully confirmed, and the network will keep building blocks. You'll see those confirmations, especially when you deposit to exchange. You'll say, yeah, we need like 30 confirmations or whatnot. This is to make sure and that it's resistant to the 51% attack. So the more confirmation there are, the less likely a hacker can attack it. Well, what happened with Bitcoin Gold is that because Bitcoin Gold has a kind of a low hash rate, it's possible for a hacker to have more than 51%. So the hacker can create basically an alternative timeline. It can basically take a look, let the exchange feel safe that the transaction has been confirmed, then go all the way back and confirm the second transaction, the transaction where he sends that Bitcoin Gold to himself. Now, what happens here is that if he has more than 51% of the hashing rate, then he can create blocks faster than the network, than the group the whole community as a whole. So he can start producing more blocks in his alternative timeline, his alternative timeline history, where that transaction was sent to himself. And the thing is, how the network works is that the longest blockchain wins. So if he manages to have more hash rate, he can produce blocks faster and make sure that the timeline is now the accepted timeline because it's got a longer chain length and all the transactions are valid. So this is within the rules of Bitcoin and with other crypto proof of work cryptocurrencies. So this has always been around. I do want to say that this kind of risk was always around. But as my good friend Peter, he's a very big miner, says, the coins basically are always vulnerable to this. But something like Bitcoin, because they have such an immense kind of hash rate protecting it, getting 51% of that network hash rate is near impossible. A lot of people are confused because they see statistics where mining pools will control 10 or maybe 8% of the network, and they are kind of worried about conclusion of these mining pools and maybe getting even 51%. But I just want to remind everyone that mining pools are kind of groups of miners, and miners can leave those pools at any time, especially if the pool is doing something sketchy like using that hash power to create alternative timelines, which is expensive if you think about it, because now the hash power is used to not generate new blocks but to create this alternate timeline in history. So overall, what does that mean? Well, it means that now hackers have found a way to even attack blockchains, and the exchange basically wakes up in the morning and finds, well, that Bitcoin Gold that they had, well, they don't really have it at all. And my friend Peter also said something that was also very true as well. So coins just have to run faster than the other guy. So this is why I don't believe Bitcoin or any of the bigger cryptocurrencies are vulnerable to this, because they have such a large hash power protecting them. Now, you think that something like this is big news and it might do some devastation on the Bitcoin Gold price, concerning the fact that, well, the exchanges got scammed their money, and there's risk of this happening in the future, especially if you're kind of accepting Bitcoin Gold. You might be worried, like, can this hacker reverse that transaction? Well, it did nothing to the price, which is highly suspicious. So this really goes to show that maybe if news like this isn't affecting the markets, then these guys have crazy market manipulation skills to just prop up that price and to pretend everything's okay, because honestly, it's not. So now, talking about market manipulation is something that we definitely seen in cryptocurrency, and it seems like the US government wants, or the US Justice Department rather, wants to crack down on as well, because they recently reported that they're going to open criminal probe against market manipulation in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. This is something that kind of needs to be done, because it's relatively easy to manipulate a smart market cap cryptocurrency. If you're a day trader, you might be vulnerable to this. And this is one of the darker sides of cryptocurrency that, well, we known in the past that something like this was going on. We've seen WillyBot and MarketSpot admissions from Mt. Gox that they were using bots to artificially alter the price or affect the price of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin back in the day. So it might be the case that it's going on now, and the US Justice Department is really trying to crack down on this. So all this news might be getting you down, and I just want to tell you guys a story. I've been mining in Bitcoin since 2012, and I've seen a lot of crazy stuff going on. And back in the day, this idea of a Bitcoin bubble, everything's gonna blow up, this is game over for everything, was really huge on the media. And at that time, I was naive enough to believe it. We didn't have the community support like we have now, where we can start talking to people and having a more balanced opinion. Back in the day, I trusted economists. This article was talking about how Bitcoin dropped from $33 a unit to $2.5 and just sent everyone down to this negative spiral. And this is probably not the most negative article I've seen. Back in the day, FUD was much greater than it was, and there were people who attempted to sell for Bitcoin at 18. And if you just travel, just look at it now, it's like ridiculous. $18 Bitcoin, I'll buy it any day. Really, Bitcoin has gone a long way, and so has the cryptocurrency market. So I'm very, very solid on crypto. I know that at times sometimes feels bad to see the market tank and drop like this, but I can be rest assured I've been interviewing a lot of people, especially during Consensus. You can check out the video on Wax. There are a lot of solid people in the space now, and we're moving to a stage where we're trying to apply the technology to new places, explore new frontiers. Obviously, this is all new and everything's going to vibrate up and down, but what we see is that this technology is really innovative. No one really kind of saw that. Only the visionaries saw that in 2012, 2011 and managed to buy a lot. They're whales now. But right now, you can just see this whole market expanding, and I'm really happy to be with the community where we're at something at the early stages and witness the growth of a new amazing technology. Do you agree with that sentiment? I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember to click the little subscribe button to subscribe to this channel, and of course the little like button if you like the content here. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.